Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Dr. Perkins, your board certified OBGYN, and today we're talking about how soon after giving birth can you get pregnant. Join me. In this video, we'll be talking about how ovulation occurs, when it occurs after giving birth, how breastfeeding affects ovulation, knowing how long to wait after giving birth to have sexual intercourse, and some of my top tips for what to do before getting pregnant again. All right, so let's jump into our topic today. Let's talk about the postpartum period. Well, you've gone through pregnancy, approximately 40 weeks. You've given birth, and at the point that your baby exits your body, you are now in the postpartum period. And so your body is now undergoing so many changes in an effort to get back to your pre-pregnancy self. During your pregnancy, your ovaries and ovulation pretty much came to an end. Why? Because your body is focused on growing a whole human being, which is such a beautiful thing. And as soon as you give birth, everything changes. But it takes a while for your body to get back to normal. In general, we recommend 18 months for recovery. That's twice as long as a pregnancy. 9 months, 18 months for recovery. It's very important because during that time, even though we consider postpartum to be 6 weeks after you deliver, that entire 18 months is needed for your uterus to get back to normal, your ovaries to resume production of all its hormones, its estrogens and its progesterones, for your fallopian tubes to become normal again, for your pelvis to become normal again. And if you've ever been pregnant, you know that pregnancy really affects everything else outside of the pelvis, right? Your bones, your joints, your hips, your back, everything. It takes 18 months to recover from that. Ovulation may return at any point. This is also influenced by whether or not you're breastfeeding. In what way? Well, breastfeeding is almost your body's way to say, hey, we have a human being that we're providing food for. We don't want to create or have the scenario of having another human being come about. So because of that, as you breastfeed and your body releases hormones like oxytocin, your pelvis and your ovaries are quieted to say, hey, we don't need to provide an egg for a new child because we really want to provide this current child and this baby with all the nutrients, all the things that the body needs, and a mother who is focused on this current baby and not worried about going through a new pregnancy again. It is a beautiful phenomenon, and the way that biologically our bodies are set up to protect you and to protect your baby. Now, breastfeeding and ovulation really has to do with how long you breastfeed, how much you breastfeed, and how consistent you are with that. For instance, if you breastfeed today every 3 hours and you're very consistent, you're not giving formula at all to your babies, and you're like, well, I'm so tired, I've been doing this full time for the last 4 or 5 weeks, I want a break and I want to sleep for 8 hours. Dad's taking care of the baby or family is over assisting, let me just get some rest. Whenever you go that period of time without breastfeeding at all, you're really indirectly telling your body, I don't really need this anymore. I'm completely over with breastfeeding and providing my baby with milk supply. That's the signal to your ovaries to now act up, reactivate, start the hormonal processes to lead toward ovulation. So, what's the main point here? Consistency matters. So when you're consistent, you will continue to provide your body with the hormones to cause breastfeeding to continue. But once you change your schedule, you may activate ovulation again. So it's hard to tell when that will happen. For you, the best thing to do would be protect yourself if you don't want to get pregnant, or if you're okay with pregnancy, preparing for that as well. As we dive deeper into our topic today, Please share with us, what has your experience been with postpartum, ovulation, and periods? Because it is so different for everyone, and we'd love to hear from you and see what commonalities might be out there. Now, after ovulation comes a period if you are not pregnant. Let's take a look at our model and review what ovulation really means and how it leads to a period. Eggs are made and matured in your ovaries. For ovulation to occur, all the hormones and processes happen, and then that mature egg pops out of your ovary into your fallopian tube. Your fallopian tube will then grab the egg and have it travel along its pathway, waiting for sperm to meet it and fertilize it. If this does not occur, that egg breaks down in about 18 to 24 hours after being released. That breakdown signals your body to have a period. Every single month, one of two things are happening: pregnancy or a period. If there's no pregnancy, your body prepares for that period. Now, this is significant in the postpartum period because while you were pregnant, you were not having periods. Now, for a period to happen, you need to ovulate first. If you're having sexual intercourse and you've not had a period yet, and you're not sure when ovulation has occurred, you may very well get pregnant before having a period. This happens all the time. I can tell you so many stories about people who had a baby and delivered in January and had another baby in November or December the same exact year because they never saw a period first, and that is not necessary. Ovulation comes first. On average, for people who are not breastfeeding, ovulation followed by a period may happen in about 74 days after you've given birth. Breastfeeding can delay your periods for up to 20 plus weeks, just about the time frame that you start introducing regular foods to your baby. This range varies greatly. If you are concerned and do not want to get pregnant, the best thing to do is to come up with a plan before your delivery. That means in your last trimester, talking with your doctors about family planning and the best ways to go about not getting pregnant. I tell my patients all the time, you are extremely fertile directly after giving birth. So fertile, it almost seems as if your body is trying to help sperm get to your fallopian tubes even quicker than when you initially got pregnant. So it's very easy and you want to be careful. Better than that though is that the best thing that you can do for your body is to recover well from pregnancy. That way you can provide the best environment for your new baby and pregnancy to develop in. Here are a few tips that I have for what to do in between pregnancies. As I mentioned, always talk with your doctors before your need for pregnancy protection. Also talk to them about family planning and what your long-term plans are for children, the amount of children that you'd like, and the best way to go about that. In your postpartum period, also be sure to do screening such as depression screening because it is pretty common that this may happen, and the best time to get help is when you identify that this might be a problem for you. Tip number 3, if you've had any complications in your pregnancy, such as gestational diabetes, hypertensive disorders such as preeclampsia, this is a good time in your postpartum period to really control, manage, and correct those problems. Now, it is very common that these infections will be specific only to pregnancy, which means that as soon as you've completed your postpartum period, these may just completely go away. However, in a small few people, these infections may become chronic problems, medical problems like diabetes or hypertension over time. So I recommend that you work with your providers just to be sure that any problems you had in the pregnancy are completely resolved. My last tip for you today is in the process of trying to get back to your pre-pregnancy self, we try to get back to your pre-pregnancy weight as well. We know that there's a lot of weight changes that occurs during pregnancy, and as we put on these additional weight, it becomes harder to take off if we haven't fully gone back to a pre-pregnancy weight at first before going into the next pregnancy. I can share a quick story with you. I had a patient that in her first pregnancy, she gained 90 pounds, way more than what we would recommend, but life happens. And after pregnancy, her weight went down 40 pounds. She got pregnant again, but this time her body is carrying 50 pounds of excess fat. And in that pregnancy, she gained another 60 pounds. Do you see how this can be a rolling process where overall we can gain an extreme amount of additional fat that over time can just cause our bodies to become chronically ill? And so as you wait and prepare for your next pregnancy, a part of that is making sure that your entire system is perfect and ready to go. If you've enjoyed our conversation today, I thank you for being here. You can click the link below. At that link, you'll be able to access my free ebook on hormones and balancing them. It's such a wonderful resource because with that, it helps you to optimize your body and its functions. I enjoy being with you, and I've enjoyed our conversation today. Thank you.